Hey everyone, this is Nina from ROADIE Free Radio. In today's clip, Larry talks to Amanda Davis about how she went from being a sound technician on a cruise ship to front of house for Janelle Monáe. If you like what you hear and want to listen to the full episode, it's number 102 from way back when, September 10th, 2018. Thank you for listening, thank you for subscribing, and stay safe. Here is Larry and Amanda Davis.
But I'm mad because I've had plenty of other guests on the show who did a stint on a cruise ship or cruise lines, whatever, for a while. Not just the guys and gals that are out doing the Monsters of Rock cruise and all that kind of stuff, but
Yeah, people do cruise ships for 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I don't know how you could do that.
I don't either.
But I imagine it's a hell of a boot camp to go through.
Oh, definitely. Especially when you are like a tech. Because for the most part, you're the only type of tech on the ship. So I was the only audio tech for the entire ship. There were AV guys that ran like the smaller show, like a comedy show or something.
Yeah.
But I was responsible for, maintaining all the sub lounges, the outside speakers, the deck by the pool, for mixing the main shows. Every show that went on, I had to mix the shows and then maintain the main room, the amps for that room, making sure everything works. It's a boot camp, and it's a lot of on-the-job learning happens because your manager, for the most part, is just another AV guy.
Right.
He doesn't really know.
Yeah, right. And there's no Sam Ash or Tour Supply on board, right?
Exactly.
So you gotta work with what you got.
Gotta work with what you got until if it comes to a point where you have to order something, you have to call Shore and wait till you can get it, all this stuff. So it was a lot. Learning how to handle the packs for the headset mics, on singers, and how you can keep them from being exposed to the sweat and all this stuff. It was, things you need to know to prepare you for this job that I'm in now, you know.
Yeah.
It helped, just in the moment, sometimes you're like, ugh, why? Why? But I'm grateful for my time on the ship. It taught me a lot. And the ship I was on, the console was a 5D.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my God. And I learned that console the back because I had to. It was so much I had to do.
Yeah.
And so when I got the Janelle gig, that was the console that I had to take on tour. I'm like, winning already.
So,
at least I know the console.
So tell me a little bit about this. So then let's actually back up. So you get off the ship. And were you back to Atlanta?
Yes, back in Atlanta.
And what was the thought at that point? Got to get a job.
Gotta get a job and figure out how not to do another ship contract. I had prepared myself. Okay, you're gonna go on your second contract, but let's try to find something else that maybe you won't have to go back. And I had planned on talking to my friend Jeff, who is Janelle's tour and production manager, just to kind of get some insight on how to get my foot in the door for touring. And he just ended up calling me about actually coming on tour.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was like, what?
Starting as front of house, not like a systems tech or something like that, but straight up.
Straight up front of house.
How long had her previous front of house person been there?
I don't know, honestly.
Were you stepping into some big shoes?
Oh, yeah. I was.
Yeah.
I mean, Janelle's show is big. I mean, now is her biggest show that we've put on before, that she's put on before. But, I mean, she's always had a huge band. It was like a 9-piece band, which I knew I could handle because on the ship, I had a 10-piece.
Right. This was one less. You're winning.
I know.
Right off the bat.
I had a 10-piece band on the ship with 2 production singers, playback.
Wow.
So I was prepared to handle,
Yeah.
inputs at least, you know.
Right. So tell me about, okay, so you get the call, you meet with Janelle, you meet with your buddy, you get the job. Then you got to do rehearsals, right? Before you guys go out. What was that first rehearsal like? You
I
remember?
did rehearsals. It was surreal. I was like, oh my God, I'm here.
Mm.
And I had
How
to,
soon, I'm sorry to cut you off. How soon from getting back off the cruise ship to like that moment when you got the job with her? How long was that?
um 2 months.
Damn.
Yeah. It was 2 months because when you're on the ship, you get, and you end the contract, you get like a 2 month break. And I
Okay.
had 2 weeks before I was about to go back on my second contract.
Whoa.
When I got the Janelle, yeah. It was all God's timing. I had 2 weeks left and my lease was about to be up on my apartment.
Wow.
Like, oh, this is perfect.
Right. Right. And I imagine the money must have been a lot better than
Oh,
being on a cruise
much.
ship, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything's better than working on a cruise ship. Folks,
Yes.
listen out there. If you're looking for a career path, Carnival Cruise Line. Well, maybe not just Carnival, not calling out Carnival.
Not calling out Carnival.
Anyway. Yeah, so first rehearsal is surreal.
Yeah, it's surreal. And I'm like, okay, this is what you said you wanted. You know, like, let's go. It's here.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can handle it.
Yeah.
And let's get to work.
And that was 2013.
October 2013.
5 years later.
Yep.
A lot of buses later. A lot of stages later. Still going strong.
Trips around the globe.
What do you wish you knew? What do you know now that you wish you knew then, going into that first rehearsal?
That it doesn't all have to be perfect the first day. And yeah, like you're not gonna always, you are prepared enough to this point.
Yeah.
And it'll all come together. And you have people, you have help. You have people here to help you. You don't have to figure it out on your own.
Did you have an assistant?
No, I didn't. But her monitor engineer, Tony, is very knowledgeable and smart. And he had been with her for years.
Okay.
So it was, on that end, it was a cool transition to, have somebody that was knowledgeable.
Yeah. Take me through, as someone, who wouldn't know this particular part of the conversation, right? Take me through what that conversation's like with somebody when you first start with them, when you are filling in someone else's shoes, basically. What kind of questions are you asking them, the artist? What kind of, what are you trying to figure out? Or are you not? Just like, okay, great, this is awesome, and I'm going to put up a mix, right? And see how they respond. Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, that's basically, honestly, how it happened.
Which one? Putting up the mix or asking questions?
Putting up a mix.
Okay.
And, well, at first I was watching her producer kind of mix the show. And I would just ask questions after, or if something was pertinent, I would ask then, but I would try to just watch and have questions after. And then it came time, one of the shows, he was like, all right, you drive. I'm like, okay. And so I just put up a mix, and I just go with, because I was already a Janelle fan. Okay. And crazy, before I got off the ship, it was just something telling me to listen to the Android album. I had been listening to Janelle for like the last 2 weeks of my contract on the ship. And I had been, like I said, I had been a fan since college. Like my friend who I said I sang with, huge fan. We were huge fans of Janelle. So we were always watching her on YouTube or any chance we got, anyway. So Janelle's voice and her performance style and all that was already in my head. I already knew. That's why I knew I could handle the job as far as not being torn, have toured before. I hadn't toured before. I hadn't mixed, that type of caliber of show before. But I had been listening to Janelle, and I knew that I could handle it. So yeah, I just put up the mix after watching him a few shows, and we kind of collaborate and talk through it that way. And then it was like, all right, you can handle it.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Hey, what's happening, roadies? It's Larry here. Just wanted to thank you so much for listening to this short clip. I really hope you got something out of it. If you can take 2 seconds to head over to iTunes and drop us a review or a comment, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Keep listening, keep coming back, stay healthy out there, and remember, no roadies, no rock and roll.